Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk. Here we are again, another 10 days later, and we have a great show for you tonight. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this program. Tonight, we're going to have a special Veterans Day program, and we are bringing 3 veteran pilots, F-16 fighter pilots, that is. A unique career, and we're going to ask a lot of questions, and hopefully we'll figure out what pilot life is like, and we honor these veterans, and we thank them for coming on the program today. So first, I'd like to introduce Becky Buffy Ohm. Could you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. I grew up in Oregon, Ohio, and went to school there. Then I went to Bowling Green State University. Go Falcons! And yes. I went through the aviation program there. Got my in mid between there. I joined the Air National Guard based on a couple other fighter pilots who were enlisted and told me about it. What a great opportunity it was. And then I joined in '93, and I got a maintenance slot there, and then soon after that, I got selected to be a fighter pilot there. So in '97, I went off training and came back, got back into the training, and I flew for about 14 years, then decided to have a few kids. Opened a coffee shop somewhere in there, and then I ended my career in the maintenance squadron. I was a commander in the maintenance squadron, so 25 years, and retired in September of 2018.
And that stuff, it goes by fast.
It sure does. It's amazing.
And I understand you were the first female fighter pilot in Toledo, Ohio at the 180th.
Yep, first, and I'm hoping they'll get another one shortly. So, yeah, they need us around there.
Yeah, they do, and minorities. So, Colonel Lotus, everybody, Colonel Lotus just joined in.
Hi,
so
guys.
How are you today?
Good, and you?
Great. So, could you tell us about your career? A little short bio.
Oh, okay, sure. I went to Capital University on an ROTC scholarship. I was lucky. I wanted to go over there and play football, and they had was one of the last ROTC detachments west of the Mississippi in a small college. So I got lucky, got a scholarship, graduated, had to wait a year and a half for pilot training, so I got to coach football. And then I went to Craig Air Force Base in 1975, graduated from pilot training in December 1976. And at that time, I transferred into the Air National Guard back in Springfield, Ohio, which is my hometown. So it was a Palace Chase. They didn't have, they weren't offering too many fighter slots. So I found a way to snivel out of the Air Force right after I graduated from pilot training. So I came back to Springfield. They sent me to Tucson, Arizona. I went to F-100 school in 1977 from January through about July. Came back to Springfield, flew the Hun for the rest of the year, and then went back in January of '78 in our first class in the A7. Went A7 school in '78, and I flew the A7 until January of 1993. I got about 250 hours in the Hun, about 2,500 in the A7, and then I went to F-16 school at McConnell in '93, and I went full-time Air Guard. I became a full-time pilot back in '80. So then I just moved up through the ranks, all the different jobs, in ops, up to and including the ops group commander. I actually did a tour over to be the maintenance group commander, which back then was called the logistics group. They had some issues, so I got asked to go over there for a while. Deployed to Kuwait in 96 for about 45 days, and then deployed to Northern Watch Instrument Turkey for about 35 days in 97. And then we became a schoolhouse. So I took over the task to start up the F-16 RTU, which we did. They did until they finished flying a couple of years after I retired. And my last 5 years, from 2003 to 2008, I was the wing commander at Springfield. So I got to fly the F-16 about 15 and a half years almost, and about 2,200 hours, I guess, in the F-16. So about
Awesome.
5,000 fighter hours.
Yes, and you were great. I enjoyed your commander ship. You're pretty awesome trying to get, because you did a lot of stuff to keep the Dutch there and then try to bridge that mission on forward. So I appreciate the work that you did.
Oh yeah, we worked hard to get that Dutch mission to keep us from closing. And once we got we got 14 Dutch jets. They were the MLU jets, a Block 15 MLU, and we had Block 30s. So we had 2 different jets, 2 different languages. Had 28 jets in all, total airplanes, and we did Dutch training and U.S. training. We flew 6,000 hours a year, and we didn't have any mishaps, so that's great. And we were the second biggest fighter unit in the Air Guard and flew more hours than any. We were actually total numbers, I think we were actually the biggest Ohio Guard unit and flew more hours than the other ones actually.
Pretty awesome. Brad Glantz. So I'm going to call you guys by your call signs tonight. So Swollen.
Yes.
So tell me about your career.
Well, I was born and raised in Napoleon, Ohio, in the great state of Ohio. And I went to Bowling Green State University like Buffy did, which actually a lot of our guys, a lot of our pilots ended up going there. Graduated with a degree in physical therapy. Joined the Guard in 1992. Did about 6 years as a guardsman, and then went into pilot training and down at Del Rio, Texas. Did my UPT down there. I was in RTU at Kelly. I was one of the first classes to come out of there. NVG qualified as a lieutenant wingman, and then showed up at the 180th for my seasoning training, and got to fly a little bit with Buffy a couple times, and ended up with about 2,400 hours in the F-16. I was a flight commander, mission commander, instructor pilot, functional check flight pilot, and pretty much kind of the whole letter of X's. Did tours and stand-of-owl training, scheduling.
Scheduling, yes. That's
yeah.
Brad and I used to work together when I was pro super. He was the scheduler, and we'd figure things out. So yeah, you did awesome. All you guys are quality people. That's why I picked you. So
yeah. Hey Brad, I'll tell you, my first full-time job was scheduling officer, and it was the best job I've ever had. I love it.
Yeah. It's challenging,
It's interesting.
You think
you got to give the pilot
of that job.
Maintenance has to give you the aircraft for right.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They have to generate the aircraft. That's the biggest part of
Yes.
it. So let me ask you. This is my favorite question. I'm going to ask you guys each one. What do you think of Top Gun, Tom Cruise, and how unreal is that situation compared to your actual lives as a fighter pilot?
Well, they're Navy guys. It's all unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to show them. It's for the movies, but a lot of it is. It's funny. I watched it before I went to pilot training, and I loved the movie. And then I watched it after I got back from training, and it's a whole different movie.
Right. Like, I totally agree with that. Even from the maintenance point of view, it's like, this is ridiculous. The stuff that we see. And I mean, the first plane that was taxiing, that F-14, was on a tow bar. We're like, what are they doing there? They couldn't get one to taxi and have all that money in Hollywood.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think Ricardo Colon would have been a better choice to play Maverick myself, but
Yeah. It would be Goose.
So tell me what the hardest part about being a fighter pilot is. And I want to explain to everybody that you guys do a lot of training just to get, I mean, the washout rate is probably high in school. You go to pilot school, pilot training school, and you have to be part scientist. You have to be physically fit all the time. You see pilots running, down the street on the base all the time, going to the gym. You guys have your own gym there and everything. So you guys, you have to be able to think, physically react, and unfortunately, not everybody can do that. So what's the hardest part of the job, in your opinion? What did you have the most trouble with?
I think,
Anything at night.
yeah. Well, at night when it's freezing cold in Toledo and having to go out to the vet, that's the hardest part right
Oh,
there.
really? Yeah.
can I say having to deal with maintenance?
Having to deal with what?
Having to
He
deal with
didn't
the
mean that.
maintenance.
Okay. So
Let me clarify my night statement. The hardest part is a night vision goggle ride in the back seat with a second lieutenant in the front for his first night vision goggle ride, or teaching him how to refuel at night from the back
Pretty
seat.
scary.
That sucks.
I would think that, like, you guys flew a lot of weather, windy skies or whatever, thunderstorms. I've seen it all, and it's amazing. I know it's just like a regular airline. It's not always steady, smooth flying. I know you guys are fighting to keep those planes together with formations, like if you're going over the stadium and everything. So I imagine that that's not really something people think about. So I also want to know, what's that?
I mean, a lot of you mentioned the flyby thing, like flying in tight formation, trying to line it up so that you're over the stadium right when, the national anthem is ending. That's probably one of the hardest parts too, is getting that timing right. But flying at night in the weather, close formation can be very disorienting too. So
I have actually, we have questions from people that are watching live.
Yeah, hey,
If you guys
Buffy.
don't mind answering.
Yep. Hi, sir.
I got a question for Buffy.
Oh, okay.
So if you've done flybys and I've done, you know to the second how long the national anthem is if it's played right.
Yeah.
A minute
But
and
the
28
band doesn't always, they don't always, sometimes they get nervous and they speed up and then
Right, then you have people that sing their own ad lib.
then you got the guy on the ground in the radio going, hurry up, they're speeding up. And so you can only break even.
Yeah, hurry up. Yeah, like slow down. Okay.
So I have a question from Shane Bowles. He was a chief at the 178. I don't know if you remember Colonel Otis. What was the funniest moment in flying and the scariest moment?
I heard him.
What's that?
The funniest?
Yeah.
The funniest moment?
Would be the same moment.
I don't know. I'll think about that.
Well, let's go with
The scariest
scary.
one was I had a very strange. Well, okay, the funniest moment. The funniest moment was in the A7 night flying and going to Panama in the middle of the night, and I had raised my clear visor to eat my Snickers bar, and then I never lowered it, and then I took my Go pills, which we never took because we lied about it because we didn't want to take. but I took them that night. And then I would look at the airplanes in formation, and my eyes wouldn't focus. And oh my God, what's wrong? My eyes just wouldn't focus. And I kept looking up, but if I looked down in the cockpit, I was okay. And I went to rub my eyes with my hand, and I had never put the visor back down. The ridge of the clear visor was going right through my line of sight, so I couldn't see the airplanes. That's pretty stupid.
Awesome. So I know you guys.
And I had to admit that to somebody. So.
Right. That's good. That's a good question. You guys have been your combat experience. I'm sure it was pretty scary as well. You guys went into the red zone or the danger zone they call it. I don't know if you can share any of those experiences or not. I don't know if they're top secret, but I know it takes a lot of nerve to do that. And we had a tragedy in Toledo with one of our pilots, and things like that make you think. I'm sure you guys were. That's hard to take and to digest when you lose a comrade.
Yeah, I was actually the flight lead for Sonny the night that he crashed, and that was probably one of the most difficult times in my career. When something like that happens, you think back, you reflect, you wonder, is there something I could have done? Could I have changed the outcome? Could I change things somehow? And then it's natural to kind of internalize that, want to blame yourself. I mean, Kevin was a hell of a pilot. He was a Delta guy. He outranked me. He had more flight hours than me at the time. He was an instructor, I was not. And so that's tough. And you don't. I think I was down for 48 hours for that, and then right back in the jet flying combat missions. And you just have to learn how to compartmentalize and focus on the task at hand more than anything. And that's one of the hallmarks of a fighter pilot, is to be able to do that and press. And it's tough. It took everything I had in me to be able to do that and move on. And we still honor him to this day. I know Buffy was there back in June 15th of 2007 was the day that he crashed. And but that's one of the hardest things. I mean, is just to be able to compartmentalize, press on, and that's not any different than it is in any branch, whether you're a Marine or a soldier in the Army. We always have to push forward. So that's one of the toughest things for me personally, anyway.
Yeah, I remember Sonny was a good guy. I enjoyed him. I worked with him a lot. He's one of my favorite pilots besides you guys, right? And I heard that happen. It was a very sad day, and there's a lot of us.
Sonny was one of my.
Yes, sir.
Sonny was a student of mine in the IP upgrade down in Springfield.
Right. I remember seeing him when he was there.
He's a great guy. I busted him on a night vision goggle ride. And Tom, your former wing commander, Tom.
Shart.
Shart.
What was Tom's last name?
Shart.
Tom Shart.
So I busted
right
one night. And so the next day I got into work late, and the phone rang. Was Tom Shart yelling at me and laughing for busting Sonny. He knew it already.
Wow. Nice.
Sonny was a good guy. And like you said, those are tough times. I lost two squadron mates. I lost a good friend, Andy Gross at Rickenbacker. Lost Sonny, was a student, and a fraternity brother. And those things are, you never get over them. You just get past them.
Yes, right. Yeah, I remember Grove. I was at Rickenbacker. That's where I started. So I've done all the guard bases, all the fighter bases in Ohio. I'm not proud to say that, but that's what it is. So you're giving me a little bit of what it takes to be a fighter pilot, and I appreciate that, Brad. That was good. And then Colonel Otis was good information. Fighter pilots have to have the nerve to do those kind of things and carry on the mission, no matter what the mission has to be done. That's what I admire about you guys. You get out there and whatever you're supposed to do, you do it. And we don't question what the orders are. We go ahead and do it because that's what we are. We represent the United States of America. So I want to know what kind of career advice you would have for other people who want to be fighter pilots. You have anything you want to say, each one of you, or somebody, just one person, maybe? Got some more questions. Would you discourage people? Or would you encourage it?
I definitely encourage people. I always, when people ask me, I say you have to be able to do it for the right reasons. Don't do it because you want to be showy about it. You have to, because it's a lot of hard work, long days, long nights, a lot of deployments. So you have to really want that and go after it. And the whole training process is over 2 years of your life. So it's not something that you can just go blindly into. So I definitely would make sure that you're interested, that you actually like flying, and then talk to some fighter pilots that are currently flying, because they have all the current gauge and everything. And I retired. I stopped flying probably a few years before I retired, and it changed a lot even then. So the way the fighter pilot is and is trained is just changing all the time.
And you really, you have to diversify your skill set. I mean, it's not just about flying. I mean, when we would hire folks in, we're looking to see, are they, one, you got to be book smart, but you also, we kind of looked at, guys' athletic history, because flying is a weird combination of, being book smart, but then also having the hand-eye coordination, the mental agility to stay ahead of the jet, and, to roll with things when they go, they don't go according to plan, which is about every time you fly. So, and then too, we look at, are these people, the guys that we're looking to hire, are they somebody that you'd want to spend 6 months, in Iraq, under pretty stressful conditions, somebody you want to hang out with? Are they going to be a good guy? Are they going to contribute? Are they going to be a team player? Are they going to sit there and complain and whine? And so, diversification of your skill set is huge. I mean, you just have to be book smart. You have to be, coordinated, hand-eye. You have to be quick on your feet and adaptable. There's just so many things that go into it to give it, to say the top 3 things is almost impossible because there's just so much that goes into it.
I totally agree. You got to have quality people in any job, and that, especially that job. I mean, your reflexes are very much needed when you're going 1,500, 2,000 miles an hour. So I could understand that, and to me, it's a dangerous job in my opinion. I like it on the ground. So you guys don't think that way like I do, but I always say that I'd rather be on the ground because I know I would probably crash the aircraft. I don't have those kind of skills like you guys do. The average person does it, even like an airline pilot. And I worked at an airline for 3 years, and I understand there's a lot of things I never knew until I took that job. And it relates back to the fighters. You rely on a lot of people on the ground to make your mission successful, and you put that trust in them. And I'll say this: that you're better off with the military mechanics than the civilians. They're more dedicated. That's just the way it is.
Sure.
That's the way the system's set up. So we got any more questions? Oh, by the way, we got a question from Richard, or a comment from Richard Borgerding. He was in the engine shop. He said he worked on the Top Gun movie set for 9 months. Believe it or not. What a coincidence.
Oh,
And Terry Rothenbuehler says, great to see you, Becky.
Hi, Terry.
I feel sorry for him.
Okay. Sean Rice. Okay. He was at Springfield. This new technology and the UAVs online, do you see fighter pilot roles diminishing with people? Is he talking about?
I think eventually, yeah. I mean, I think the person in the cockpit is, we're as a soft, squishy pink body, we're a liability. We need to eat, we need to drink, we need to, we have limitations physiologically. A computer, if
Like go in
they
the
can,
bathroom in the jet.
yeah, Buffy, I was with you for the first time. Still have targeting pod footage of that someplace.
So the piddle pack doesn't work for everybody, does it?
I don't know. You have to talk to Buffy. I don't know.
Well,
Okay.
8+ hours and you have to make it work.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very true.
I totally get it. We also have things we do that on maintenance. You guys make maintenance happen. The schedules drive the maintenance. And as like Colonel Lotus was saying, we were flying, I think, 12-12-8 every day, and it was crazy. And I know in Toledo we're doing 6-turn-6, but that mission, the training mission, was unreal. The tempo was so high, people were missing a lot of things. We had to have a big meeting because of that, because dangerous things were going to happen. But like you said, we had no incidents. The only close ones we had were the IPs, not the students. I thought that was interesting. Close calls.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a good question for you. So what was it like since you're retired? Was it a huge letdown when you couldn't fly anymore? Was that adrenaline, the thrill gone? Because there's nothing else you can do that I know of that would equal what you were doing.
The only thing that may come a tiny bit close is the Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point.
Really?
And that's just it's not long enough, but.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
What about you, Brad?
it's very much. It's hard because it gets in your blood, and it's the challenge of it is more than anything. You're just the kind of flying that we were doing was. Some days I couldn't wait to walk away from it, but the majority of the time, when you finish a tough sortie and you've done well and you walk away from that with a sense of accomplishment, you go have a beer with your buds at the bar afterwards. That I miss the camaraderie, and Buffy, you can probably back me up on this.
Yeah, definitely.
Just the, hanging out with the bros. And I've never laughed so hard and had so much fun at work as what I did when I was at the 180th. And just, the guys and gals, the officers, the enlisted, all of them were just top notch. And, it's just, there's nothing like it. You hit the nail on the head, Kevin. There's nothing like it in the civilian world. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I see military pilots become, airline pilots, and it's just not the same. Even with the
you can't explain it.
Right. Even the mechanics, it's a letdown because we love seeing that afterburner, right? Take off and go through your chest, that rumble. That's what we like. And I miss that a lot. So if I could still be in, I would be.
Definitely. I agree. It's a lot of work, the flying part of it, the briefing, debriefing, the sortie and everything, but there's definitely nothing that can match up to it. And Swellen was saying the camaraderie that you have between everybody you fly with and work with. It's hard to find that anywhere, just anywhere in the civilian workplace.
I would have to agree with you there. You got anything to say, Colonel? About that? I have a comment from Michael Woolley.
Flying,
So,
when I retired in 08.
oh, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was going to tell you about quitting. When we stopped flying, flying was getting really hard. It wasn't, Brad, it was hard work by the time I retired. And with all the new systems and the weapons and the night vision goggles, the pods, it was hard work. I retired. I've been doing it 34 years. I was just a couple months from being 58 years old. So and the rest of my job was keeping me so busy. It just couldn't get my head in the game. So it was time for me. I said, I got to stop doing this. And I actually felt great afterwards. It was a while before and I was just glad to be relaxed.
Yeah, I would have to say when I stopped flying, it was a different scenario because I had two kids. So as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I had to stop flying the jet. And that requires you're out so long, you have to go back through a TX course and everything.
Yeah.
So I had two kids and then I was signed up. Remember this, Colin?
Mm-hmm.
Signed me up to go back to training. I had a date and my squadron commander at the time, Scooter, he actually moved over to maintenance and he called me and he said, Buffy,
Right.
I want you to think about this. I have a spot for you over in maintenance as a squadron commander. And it's a promotion, but you couldn't fly anymore. And I'm like, no, thanks. And he talked to me one more time and said, really, this is a big step in your career. And, after like logically thinking about it and how much work that it would have been to go back to a TX course and have now two kids and a coffee shop and a husband who goes out of town, trying to keep up as a part-timer in the F-16. And the technology had advanced so far that I'd have to relearn all that. It was the right thing to do. And I took the position in maintenance and I don't regret it for a second. But I still miss the flying part of it.
I'm sure you do. And I noticed, that's kind of like where ex-pilots go to retire as maintenance commanders. And I've seen that a lot. But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you learn a lot on the other side, too. You learn a lot on the other side.
Yeah.
So it's all good. You understand. And Brad, you come from maintenance, I understand.
I was aircrew life support prior to.
Okay. Interesting. I always like when they pick the guard picks the pilots from the maintenance people. I think that's a great idea. I like that. If you have the skills and the abilities, I think that's the way to go.
Yep.
It also shows you're dedicated to the unit and you're dedicated to the military, not just you want a fighter spot.
Right.
Could you give me some water? Some water.
So as I own my own publishing company, Brownie Fox Publishing, and I offer anybody, I will publish your book if you write it. So I think that would be an awesome expression. And I think it would be very interesting reading and everything. So just remember that if you do it, I will publish it. I have it's my own company and it's legit. So I'm signing new authors. I have two right now that we're in negotiations with. So just so I let you know.
As soon as I find someone to write my book, I'll let you know.
You can do it. So Veterans Day is tomorrow, and hopefully everybody's off. And you guys, we honor you and all the veterans out there, and we appreciate what you've done for us. And and like we in the Air Force, I always tell everybody we go on TDYs and we would have a party, vacation, and the pilots would go fight for us. We'd be in the next country over, and you guys would actually do the work. So I think that's a different kind of concept because you guys do the fighting that we don't do, but we support that with the weapon systems that we have, or the platforms, they call them these days. So I wanted to ask you what you thought of getting back in aviation. Is that anything that interests you at all? Or there's a lot of opportunities out there. I don't know, probably not in Toledo, more like closer to Wright-Patterson. We have like so much going on right now. We're expanding with the F-35 and other programs. And that's what I did. I stayed in aviation my entire career. And I just like that kind of stuff. So I don't know if you guys would, even if you're not going to do it, is it something that still interests you?
I would be interested in flying again, but
Not me.
not military.
Right. And that's what I was kind of leading up to because before COVID hit, we were hiring pilots left and right at American Airlines in Dayton. A
I'm
lot of
not
our pilots
into that.
military.
Definitely not. More just like playing my own schedule kind of.
Okay. Right.
I gotta wait till the kids get a little older to be able to have us both work for the airlines.
Right. Oh, okay. So your husband works for the airlines. Okay.
He flies for FedEx right now, and
Okay.
I flew for Comair Airlines for a short stint there, and it was as a commuter, so sucky schedule and commuting from Oklahoma to Toledo sucked too. But I have no interest in going back to that at all.
Okay.
What about
I
you,
understand.
Colin?
I'm actually employed by the Ann Arbor VA right now as a physical therapist. So, I feel like I've gotten so much out of being in the military that, I feel like I want to give back a little bit. And so my degree, like I said earlier, is in physical therapy. So I've kind of started my second career. I do maintain, I've got my CFI, CFII, ATP, everything I need to go back and fly. But I have a young son, kind of starting a second career. And, I kind of envision going back to flying, but probably more after retirement and probably something like flying tourists to and from islands in Hawaii.
That sounds like a dream
Not
job.
Put Bay?
Or Put-in Bay.
I thought you were gonna say Put Bay.
All right. Got a question from somebody else. What is the most beautiful or ugly places you flew over or have been to?
I can
As a
answer
pilot?
this one, and the answer is going to surprise you. We were working in northeastern Iraq, right on the Iranian border, and that area is actually beautiful. You wouldn't think that the Iran-Iraq border would be a beautiful place, but it really was. I mean, a lot of sand, but there's beautiful blue water, a lot of trees. It was really cool. I was shocked. Not probably the top place that you would think of in terms of beauty, but it was pretty cool there.
Nice.
I'd have to say,
Yeah.
When we were coming home from Kuwait, we landed at Marone, and the southern border of France or Spain was just beautiful, right on the Med there.
I got to say too, after being gone for so long, and a lot of times the most beautiful sights you could see is KTOL.
yeah,
That's right. That's right. You got it. Coming back home. The home is the greatest place in the world when you're on deployment and you're coming back. I
yeah.
totally agree. And that's one thing that I missed when I was at Springfield. We went to Hungary. We went different places, but we weren't like deployed. Like my trip to Africa in 2013. That was amazing. You see the world, and then you get the most out of everything. So one of the big perks of being, in the Guard.
Yeah, it is.
So what was your, Becca, do you have one?
I would have to say Alaska was pretty awesome, and I was up there June timeframe, so that's when you have the only 2 hours of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. And then actually, it may surprise you too, but like around the west side of Michigan, we did a low level around that area. And around fall time when the leaves are all changing, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
I think was it VR 634 Buffy or 1624? I can't remember which.
Haven?
But
I think 634 was the longer one to the west side.
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. That one we didn't do a whole lot just because it took a lot more gas.
Right.
We had to save gas, but
So speaking of the gas, area refueling, is that something you'd rather not do, or I know it's a necessity when you're flying over the pond and everything, but to me it seems like, it's kind of like trying to bring two things together in a split screen or whatever. I can't imagine how. What's your opinions of it?
I mean, it's obviously the more you do it, the more you get used to it. But I think probably the more challenging ones were at night over the desert. You have your MVGs on, and then as you get closer, you gotta put your MVGs up, and then the whole airplane disappears, and you have to have your eyes start to adjust to the darkness again. So that's pretty interesting. As a young lieutenant, though, it's funny listening to, like, if you're a more seasoned pilot, you're on the wing and your lieutenant's getting up on the boom, and it's usually pretty funny to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Remember FOD?
Oh, I do. We can't repeat what he
the
said.
F-16.
But yeah, I know exactly where you're going.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, you really
The
just need to let
F-16
it
was a lot easier to
multitask.
air refuel than the F-100.
Really?
I don't have that experience.
Hey, all the old timers would tell me that 100 was a real man's airplane. Is that true, Colonel?
You betcha.
There you go.
Yeah.
Verified. That was like
Oh, yeah.
30 years ago I was told that.
Hey, Kevin. Listen,
Ooh,
I
that's old.
apologize. I apologize. I didn't charge my phone all the way, and I got the low battery light.
Okay. Oh, no problem. I appreciate you coming on. I thank you very much, and happy Veterans Day. We appreciate and thank you for your service.
You just wanted to have an old guy on with these kids.
No, I need to ask you one question before you leave. What are you doing now? Let everybody know.
All right. 10 years ago, I got elected to the county commission. So I have a second life. And I want to retire from it pretty soon too.
That's pretty awesome. Oh, good. That's a really nice transition, doing something completely different, slower pace, and less responsibility, I have to say, because since you're the
Yeah.
squadron commander or the unit commander, the wing commander for us. So I have another question from the audience. Do you have any regrets?
Hey guys, nice talking to y'all. Good.
Yes, sir.
Take care, Colonel.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck to
So do
everybody.
you have any, oh, go ahead.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Do you have any regrets? Anyone?
Just, honestly, I think I wish I'd have enjoyed it more while it was still there. It goes, like Buffy said, it goes by so fast. And, when it's over, and you can't go back. But I don't regret anything that I did. I just wish I would have enjoyed it more.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I got out on the medical, and ever since that, I was like, man, I wish I was still there. I would still be there now, but there's things you miss, and then you realize I don't have all that stuff to worry about anymore, because I was a shop chief and everything. Everybody comes to you, and in Toledo, since they're I think since they're military combat unit, I went from 10 to 25 people, so that was a lot of people to take care of. I enjoyed the guys and everything, but now I realize, I'm just doing my own thing now, and I enjoyed my time there, but I do miss it. Miss the interaction, the jets, and everybody, everything. The order, the rank, everything it meant a lot to me. And let me get another question here. Any of you guys do any motivational speaking?
I don't know if it's motivational, but I have spoken in front of groups before, but
Okay.
I spoken in front of networking groups, and then Heart Association. Being a breast cancer survivor twice, I've spoken in front of those for the American Cancer Association a couple times. So I enjoy it, but it also can be a little nerve-wracking at times when you're trying to
I understand that.
refocus. You know, you're busy doing your own life, and then you have this thing coming up where you have to refocus your energy towards that. So, but it is like when you get done and you're like, oh, that went really well. You're like, yes.
I understand. Anything, Brad?
I mean, so I'm a physical therapist at the VA, and so we deal with a lot of veterans, guys, a lot of Vietnam guys that have struggled. They didn't get the reception that Becky and I got coming back,
Right.
and so I don't, while I won't say it's public motivational speaking, I do speak kind of one-on-one with a lot of my guys, and just you try to reach out to them as a veteran, different generation, different wars, different services, but you try to come back to that. We're all on the same team. And
Yeah, that's cool that you get to do that.
yeah, and I've developed a bit of a reputation for being able to get the guys and gals that are tough cases that maybe don't want to do this or do that, and kind of bring them back into the fold and
I believe that.
and help them out. So it's that, like I said, I feel like I want to give back because I've gotten so much out of my time in the military, my time flying, and I just want to give back to other folks because I feel like I've gotten so much. I don't want to, I want to try to kind of even out the karmic scales, if you will.
Right. Yeah. That's because we're true patriots. That's what we do, right? We give back because, we got so much out of it ourselves as people that we carry it with us. It never goes away. And I have a couple of things from Lance Dammeier.
No.
Oh boy.
What do you miss more? The hardware, the people, the trios, talks about deployment tempo and all that. And yeah, you got any answers for Lance? What do you miss the most?
Definitely the people. I mean, you can't even compare. I guarantee you ask any retired person and they'll just say the same thing, that it's the people they miss. And obviously you can't go do that job in the civilian world as easily, but there's nothing like the close-knit family that you have in the military. I mean, it's an amazing thing to serve alongside those people. So.
Yep.
Totally.
100%. Not even close.
I totally agree with you there.
You.
What did you say?
I said, Lance, I miss you.
Also,
He says, I miss everyone dearly.
he says he misses everyone dearly. And yeah, Mike Holy says hello.
Taint. I mean,
buddy.
what is it? Bandit now? Who knows?
It's the Bandit. Well, it was Bandit,
Bandit.
and then I
The
think
Bandit?
off.
Okay.
I beg your forgiveness, Mr. Holy.
That is one of the greatest things about being a fighter pilot is the names they give you. And one of my favorites was Tulsa. I didn't know his name was Tulsa for a reason until
Oh, yeah.
later on. So yeah, that's pretty interesting how that works because they give you the name, you don't pick it out. So I don't know
We
if
had
you picked
one
yours or
guy
not.
that he had just gotten back from his training, and he was walking down the hallway and someone called him butt plug, and he goes, "No, don't call me that." So he got named that. So we call him Plug for short.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that.
Did I say that?
No, you didn't. He's not watching, I hope.
Pete Garcia says hello to everyone from Holloman Air Force Base.
So also the last thing I have, Pete Garcia says hello from Holloman Air Force Base. Pete is living the dream. He was an E&E guy like me, but he was at Fort Wayne, and he somehow got a job as a civilian doing training missions on F-16s out there. They
Wow,
hired
that's-
like 1,000 people for that mission, and
Wow.
they're all civilian. So it's
Sounds like a
interesting.
good gig.
Oh yeah,
That does sound like a good gig.
yes. And let's see. And I appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you guys too long, and I thank you for coming on. And you guys are awesome. All my guests today were cream of the crop. These former fighter pilots, nerves of steel, very intelligent people. They adapt, they overcome, and they're also leaders. And that's what I appreciate you guys. You can put any pilot in charge of a deployment or whatever. The good pilots will stick up for everybody, and they'll do whatever they have to do to make the mission go. And that's what it's all about. Everybody's about the mission. And that's one thing that we probably don't see much anymore. And I know you're running a coffee shop now, and use your leadership for that. And it's just amazing how you and your husband are both fighter pilots, or were both fighter pilots. That's
Yeah.
the other company are pretty slim.
He
Yeah.
flew an A-10 though, so
Yeah. Well, they're in the meat. They're in the thick of everything, right? They
I
can't
know.
do something, I guess they
every
can.
time they're like, "Oh, you flew the F-16, cool. Oh, you flew the A-10, wow." They're
Yeah, the A-10
Yeah.
is a highly favored public
It's
subject.
definitely a big favorite.
Well, you
And
know
I
why
love when
they
people
build
go
those
that.
things like
"Brr."
triple
You know what? Every
redundant,
aircraft does that, not just the A-10, right?
What's Swellen?
I said, you know why they build every system in the A-10 triple redundant, right? And so that
Mhm.
it doesn't get knocked out of the sky when it gets rear-ended by a bird.
Right.
True.
That's true.
That is true.
We had A7s. It might be a little fast. It's not as fast as the A7. Did you realize that the A10 has the same engines as the CRJ, American Airlines commuter, or whatever you call it, regional aircraft, same exact engines?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I worked with the CRJs on my
Okay.
last job. Yeah, they're the same things, except they don't upgrade the A10s. It's just same core. A lot of things you learn from one job to the next, and just like you guys do. And Brad, I'm impressed. It was years ago when you got your degree in physical therapy, and you just stepped right back into it. I think that's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that.
And that skill, I mean, that college is everything, right? Your skills come in handy, and that's always going to save you. And I always talk to people about that. Programs I'm on with minorities, get a skill. Nobody will ever not hire you, and you always have a job to go back to. And 2 fighter pilots retired, Becky. Open a coffee shop. That's probably a dream of yours. I'm glad you guys are doing it, and it looks like you guys are doing well. And Brad, you could show that shirt real quick to everybody.
You bet. Flying Joe. That's Buffy's place.
That's right. You guys
Flying
do
Joe
this good shirt.
In Perrysburg, Ohio.
That's right. Plug it.
Well, hey,
Plug it.
Kevin, if I could just steal the mic for a second. I just,
Sure.
you talked about us being pilots, but I mean, dude, I got to say you're doing pretty well for yourself. And, so it's not just the guys and gals that fly fighters that do well. I mean, you've taken that career post-military and developed it into, one hell of a career. And so, it's not just us that fly fighters. It's the, it's the person that raises their hand and says, I'll serve, and, I'll voluntarily separate from my family for periods of time. And, that kind of person that's willing to do that, whether they're officer enlisted, whether they're a maintenance pro soup or a fighter pilot, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's the kind of people that do well in life. And so, props to you for everything you've done post-retirement.
Well, thank you.
And I thank you for having me on here. It was truly my honor, and it's good to always see Buffy, of course. Other than June 15th, but it really, I mean, you've done awesome. You're doing a lot of good work out there, and I appreciate having me on here, man.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate those words, those kind words.
You bet.
So it's hard for me not to say sir and ma'am. It's been so. Colonel Lones, I keep calling him Colonel because that's the way it is. That's the way it was, and I respect you guys. You guys are cream of the crop. That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you again for inviting me on here, and I appreciate it. And tomorrow's Veterans Day. I'm
Right.
just want to say Happy Veterans Day to everybody who's served, and I'm proud of every one of you, and happy to serve alongside of every one of you.
Absolutely.
Beautiful words. Well, thank you, everyone. And you guys, I'll see you somewhere around whatever, Toledo area, maybe on the web, Facebook. And I appreciate you guys coming. And
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Yeah.
au revoir. You guys take care. Thank you. Later. So, don't forget, everyone, like, subscribe, share, comment. And I have my little subscribe button there. There you go at the top. Look at our Facebook channel, our YouTube page, and this is being simulcast on both of them. So be sure to join us for our next show, Wednesday the 18th. I'm reading from a cue card at 8 p.m. Be featuring former high school football players that got scholarships to play at the next level, high school football stars, and what they college life was like, and how they lived the dream. So, and put that back. This has been the program, Let's Talk. And remember, this is Brownie Fox from Dayton saying, if you have a story to tell, I have time to listen. So let's talk. Goodbye.